Perfect. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our green talks. We are back. We had some issues because of the war, but inshallah, we'll come back soon. Maybe we can talk about even rebuilding Gaza, inshallah. Today we'll be having, first of all, I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Mujdan Al-Sharif. I'm the CEO for Palestine Green Building Council. And Noor Sheikh Qasim, she's the coordinator, the technical coordinator. And I will, in a minute, I will introduce our two speakers for today. Dr. Afif says no sound. Can you hear me? Yeah, you can hear you. So Dr. Afif, try to leave and come back. Make sure that you will use the setup of the sound system that you have. Because sometimes, yeah, it's okay. Noor, if you can text him, that's better. Okay, he can't hear me. I'm sorry. So yeah. Okay, so first of all, I want to speak a little bit about the project. This panel comes to us through the title of the webinar is the financial and technical feasibility of energy efficiency measures in hotels in Palestine. Sunref, it comes to us through Sunref Palestine, which is a project that is financed by Proparco and the European Union. It's aiming to support the transition of the Palestinian private sector towards a greener economy with a primary focus on green energy and energy efficiency. This webinar will introduce the energy modeling techniques and energy audit approaches to define appropriate energy efficiency measures for hotels. The Sunref 2 Palestine, this is the project of Sunref 2. Palestine supported financially 3 energy efficiency studies in the hotel sector in Palestine, which we're about to introduce, which is the energy model for the View Hotel in Bethlehem, energy model for the extension of the Jericho Motel, and the energy audit for the existing facilities of the Jericho Motel. And the results will be presented during this session. Our first speaker will be Amandine Gal. She is the principal advisor of Econolair. She's responsible for Europe. She has over 20 years of experience in the field of energy efficiency and renewable energy. She is the lead technical expert of the second phase of the sustainable use of natural resources and energy finance, Sunref, in Palestine. Our second project, our second guest speaker for today is Ruba Abu Ni'ma. She's an electrical engineer with 10 years of experience specializing in retrofits, in projects, energy audits, and improving energy efficiency. She's a certified manager and verification professional, and she's currently working as a senior project manager at Ultimate Energy Solutions company, where she oversees strategic energy initiatives and project implementations. She works specifically on the energy modeling and the energy audits for the 2 cases of today, or the 3 cases of today. So welcome, Amandine, and welcome, Ruba. Amandine, the floor is yours. If you'd like to share the presentation and start over.
Yeah, hello everybody. Just starting. The presentation will be in English. And I don't know where you can put your question, but I think people already start to write. So please write your question during the presentation, and then you can write your question in English or in Arabic. And then if it's in Arabic, of course, Ruba will be able to answer all your questions. She was the one who developed the whole study. So she will, and I will be presented it. So I'll share my screen.
So I will answer yours. Jama'a, feel free to write your questions in whatever language. إذا بتحبوا تكتبوا بالعربي، إحنا بنترجم السؤال، ما في مشكلة، وبنرجع لكم ونترجم الجواب كمان. But feel free to ask any question. اكتبوا أي سؤال بأي لغة، عربي أو إنجليزي مش فارق. So وإن شاء الله إحنا أهم شيء بدنا كل حدا يستفيد فعلا من هاي البانل. Thank you, Amandine, and I pass the message in Arabic too.
Thank you. So I just wanted to start the presentation. So why is energy efficiency important in hotels? So currently you know that, and especially in Palestine due to the war, and you have energy issue. So energy efficiency, it's help to maintain the sustainability and has huge economic advantage as the price of energy will be rising, and it's still rising. And it also support the reduction of GHG greenhouse emission that are currently needed because we are always having, the world is heating a lot, and always have the most hot summer, most hot year. So we need to try to find some way to reduce the GHG emission. So why for hotels? So why is technical and feasibility analysis for hotel? It's a super decision-making process that help to support to decide energy, if you want to include energy efficiency measure into, for this case, it's mostly new hotels, but we have also an audit for existing. And the case study, as Wijdan said, it was for the View Hotel in Bethlehem and Jericho Resort Village, where you have an extension and the existing building. I just wanted quickly to mention that the study fund were 100% subsidized by Sunref 2 study fund. So the study fund, it's 300,000 euro available to support project owner to develop high quality feasibility studies. So the supported project are expected investment could exceed 200 euros. This is 200,000 euro. And the cost is 100% covered by the study fund. So if you have any client, if you are yourself a owner of a company or something, and you want to do energy efficiency project or energy related project, feasibility analysis, the study fund can be a good option for you to get funded your analysis. The criteria for eligibility are mainly that it or innovative or highly replicable. In this case, it was more the replicability that would look after. The tourism sector could be a very good potential for energy efficiency investment in Palestine. So first thing first, when we start the energy model, I mean Ruba, but I was overreach checking her. The first step was to develop an energy model. So to develop an energy model, it's developed in a software, which is an energy model software. In this case, Design Builder was chosen to do it, but there is a lot of other software that can be that have the same ability to develop and to know the performance of the building, the energy performance of the building. So you can use other, but Design Builder in this case was good because the majority of the energy efficiency measure that we wanted to try to work a lot on the envelope, meaning the facade and the roof. And so Design Builder, it's a very good tool to do this. Others can be a good tool, but others are more focusing in HVAC, more focusing on other. So it depends. Oops, sorry. So here, one thing that is important when you develop an energy model, is especially in Palestine due to the hot weather and the sun that impacts a lot the solar gains in the building, is to consider the model in the shadow of it. So in this case, you see this is the extension of the Jericho. So this is a representation of the height and the width and the size of the current existing building that's giving shadow to the newly built extension that is currently building. And the View Hotel is the same thing. There is a building already there. So it's good to represent the already existing building. So you know, the shadows, that in this case, it does not affect a lot, except maybe in the north facade of some levels, but not a lot. So the energy model, you include energy parameters that are all energy related elements of the building. So you need to consider, of course, the activity schedule of occupancy, set point and temperature, density of occupancy, all are estimated value, of course, and an energy model is not meant to be accurate. It's meant to be able to compare different scenarios with an limited accuracy, let's say, but of course, you don't know the density of occupancy in the building that they will have exactly, but you estimate, and based on best practices and some templates that are already available in the software, you're able to do this. Also, of the you enter into the building all the layers of each envelope element, so which we mean wall, roof, floor, and also the infiltration through the crack that the ventilation that you are not able to control. Also, the openings, which are highly important in this case, as you saw, we have a lot of openings in both buildings because they are, of course, tourism building that you want to have a nice view and open view. So it's very important to define the thermal data of the windows size and so on. Of course, the lighting systems, which have and also all the HVAC system with the type of this HVAC, the energy performance, the schedule of it, and the domestic hot water that is key in the tourism sector because there is a huge demand and importance in the energy performance of the building due to domestic hot water in the hotel sector. So first of all, what was defined, it's an energy baseline of the hotel in Palestine, how they are currently built and so on. Because for Sunref, we need to compare to the building as usual buildings, not to it's a baseline, it's a line of starts where we start, is how the things are currently done in Palestine, how the last building were built, which technology that they use, which method, which HVAC system. So we look at how the building are built currently, and generally there is not so much energy efficiency measure or energy efficiency, energy performance thought in it because too many things, mainly because there is no regulation to follow. That there is no standard or building code to comply with. And so the people usually put the lowest cost and the most practical from their point of view, which is not necessarily the case, which is not necessarily the most cost effective along the way. So we define different let's say elements, like for instance, there is no insulation and only it's air void, insular, cement black, no insulation materials. The heating and cooling system are medium to low efficiency. They do not have recovery system. The domestic hot water is electric boiler. Even if it's not the case of all the building in Palestine, all the hotel, it's what we designed it to do. And the system is still an LED, but it's no very high performance LED. And there is not a lot of shading system. And the glass are really the like two double pane, but without any treatment for solar gain reduction or insulation. So we define this, and the idea to be able to get funding with Sunref afterwards is to be 20% less than this building unusual. So then we started the technical feasibility of the specific building. And first of all, we started with the proposed building designed by the architect, by the hotel promoters, that was commissioned by the hotel promoters, architect and engineers. So we entered this and we called the building Sunref baseline. And we have the building unusual baseline and the Sunref baseline. And just doing this because these two hotels were already in a pattern and in an idea to have better efficiency, better energy performance. We enter all the system and all the thing, and we noticed already in comparing the building as usual and the Sunref baseline that the two hotels were have a huge reduction of energy consumption compared to what is done, what we estimate that it is done in Palestine currently, with around 60% reduction of energy consumption, because they already are in this work of doing better than the usual. It was the starting point. It doesn't mean that we cannot improve more the energy efficiency of this building. So Ruba and the team propose additional energy efficiency measure in both hotels. So we looked at different elements to improve it, and the analysis we just we calculate the cost effectiveness of this. So in the envelope, what we can work a lot, and it's very high cost effective, is the reduction to wall to the window to wall percentage. Especially in the View Hotel, you will see it was a 100% facade of window. Window cost a lot, and they are really not very good insulation material, and it doesn't bring a lot of view on the feet. So we propose to add the slab to reduce the window to wall percentage, especially on the slab level. Windows improvement, better window, wall improvement, better insulation, roof improvement, better insulation, also shading. We try to improve the shading and thermal characteristic, and also the light color of the roof, and some element that can also reduce energy consumption. Of course, HVAC improvement, lighting improvement, and domestic hot water improvements. So the propose for the View Hotel, we propose to reduce the wall window to wall ratio to 80% because it was 100% of both facade. In south facade, because it's a view, they have the huge view on the valley. It's wonderful, and the owner of the architect didn't want to reduce a lot the view, because it's called a view. So we still propose to reduce a little bit, and more in the north because the view is not so good. And so we said in this case we can. So differentiation of facade, it's one very good option also to make sure that you improve your energy efficiency. The shading was rejected because they wanted an aesthetic, specific aesthetic of the building, which is perfectly fine. We propose also to improve thermal characteristics of the wall and the wall, adding insulation. We propose to improvement of window. We talked about the light color of envelope. They had a stone that was very light already, but for the roof mainly. And also they had a domestic hot water. We propose to reduce especially the flow of it with a reduction flow system that are widely used worldwide in many hotels, especially in the Caribbean, in islands where there is restriction of there is issue of water, which is the case also in Palestine. So it's a very good option for Palestine. And the VRF, because they already have a VRF, but the seasonal ratio, energy efficiency ratio, was not so high compared to what is available in the market. And the Sunref asked for 4.6 minimum performance, seasonal performance. And so we asked for this. So generally speaking, proposing this, the building can save 72,500 shekel per year. And also, one important thing, they can reduce the capacity of the cooling and the heating system, which also one important point, because you reduce the energy demand, you are able to reduce the cooling and the heating system, so you are able to reduce the investment cost of this system. So one example here, more in detail, is a window to wall ratio, and also the U value of the proposed wall was not changed. We just reduced the window to wall ratio. Oh, sorry, the window to wall ratio, and you can see that there is not a lot of reduction in terms of energy consumption, but there is a high, like considerable reduction in terms of affecting the heating and the cooling demand. In this case, the cooling demand was higher, was reduced, sorry. And the wall improvement also, we add insulation, and in this case, we can see a huge impact also for one, because the wall was not a lot, it was only east and western facade, that it already affect greatly the energy, the size of the heating and cooling system. Okay. So for the view, after there is some information that where we started from, and especially on the domestic hot water. So the performance, we think that you can, if you put a a heat pump with higher COP, you can reduce the consumption by 25%, which is a lot of energy, a lot of money yearly, for just adding a little bit of performance at the beginning, and the additional cost is not so much. And also, we propose to install low flow bathroom fixture to reduce water consumption up to 30%, which an expected reduction from 5 liters per square meter per day to 4 liters from the per room, and also you reduce at the restaurants. So also in this case, the reduce for only the domestic hot water is estimated at 20%. Okay, only for adding low flow fixture, buying low flow fixtures that do not cost 20% more than the usual one. So the overall, based on what was most appropriate on the cost effectiveness and so on, what was selected is this energy efficiency measure to get the 500 NIS per year of energy saving, and a reduction of 50 to 20% of the system. And then I go to the extension of the hotel. We have the same approach was taken with almost the same thing, same I would say same energy efficiency, same starting point, and the Madar consulting engineer, I'd like to say, they already had included a lot of energy efficiency performance measure in the design. We just propose them to add a little bit more. Just for you to know, the hotel in Jericho already have a PV system that is covering currently 60% of their electricity needs. So you see here in this case, we looked at more different window, looked at roof insulation, and the same we looked at domestic hot water work, and also a wall that has already 5 centimeters insulation, which is very good, because usually there is not. We try to improve more. So in this case, also, the energy saving per year is not a lot. It's 25. It's still quite a lot, but it's not like humongous that we can thought, because they already have a lot of energy efficiency measure included, but it's still around 25,000 shekel per year. However, the most interesting is the reduction capacity of the systems that you put. And so, meaning 10% for the cooling, but more than 75% for the heating system. So we try to look at the window to wall ratio, but it was already met what it is recommended. The thermal optimization, we look at some opportunities. The shading are very good, because the terrace that of the upper room already shade the window, so it's a very good, and we did not add any shading device. And the light colors, we just say that using lighter colors will improve especially the roof, to reduce its absorption and reduce the cooling, but we did not model this, but it's a good point to have. And so the overall, as I already mentioned, you know, the heating, it can reduce a lot. So this is a little bit how this has been done, the things that we have looked at, and which kind of energy measure you can include, meaning that even if the engineer and the architect were really good since the beginning, already included a lot of energy efficiency measure in the design, you can always improve it and do the calculation and make it more energy efficient. And so then we just calculated the GHG reduction emission, because for for Sunref, the CO2 emission are the a very important parameter to take into account. So knowing that it can improve more and reduce the CO2, it's a very good. So then I would like to go for the audit of an existing building, which is different process, different approach, different softwares. So you do an audit, which is more commonly known, let's say. So you check all the envelope characteristic, analyze current energy consumption, electric bill. You do all this analysis, and you use also different software. In this case, RedScreen was used. RedScreen is a Canadian software that help you to define energy efficiency measure and renewable energy and do feasibility level. So thanks to this, we developed the base case, and here you can see the fuel consumption and the energy demand of the base case. And you can see that the space cooling is the most demanding, let's say, element of the building. And of course, the space cooling is reducing fuel thanks to the COP of the heat pump and the system that are in place. And so the electrical equipment have a lot of say in the overall. And so for each electrical equipment, you can buy a high performance electrical equipment, meaning for anything like computer, small refrigerator in room, even printers for office, anything. So you can also think of changing step by step this electrical equipment for high performance electric equipment, and you will reduce your energy consumption. So we did some analysis again we recommend some energy efficiency measures. Some are similar to the one of the newly. So the low flow shower head and faucet, it's really important, and it's a very good one, and the cost is it's not a lot, and the payback is less than 3 years. So it's very highly valuable in any hotel in Palestine, knowing how difficult it is to get water. And also, just for you to know, this low flow shower head and low flow aerator for faucet does not, now they are built that I know that in the tourism sector is highly important to the comfort and how the people feel inside, and this does not change the comfort of the inhabitant of the occupant of the tourists. We said also that replacement of one chiller could be a good option because they had different chiller, but the proposal was to change only one, so it can you do it step by step, and to increase the performance. And in this case, payback was 14 years. I mean, but if you have a chiller coming to an end of its life, it's very good to change in for a high performance because you pay only the additional cost. In this case, it was all cost per kilowatt hour, but think of this. The lighting system also 12 months to replace the use because they already had some LED, but we propose to for a higher performance LED, and also to improvement of appliances and motors to replace when they arrive at the end of life for high energy efficient equipment. So this is an analysis, the financial analysis that you are able to do in RedScreen, showing the simple payback of everything going to 7.3 years, which can be a lot or cannot be a lot, taking into account the different analyses, the costs, the initial cost, and of course, a debt that you have, taking into account the interest rate of 7% and the inflation rate of 2%, that might be higher from what we've known recently. So if the inflation rate is higher, the simple payback, even the financial viability will increase. Okay. So the conclusion for the existing Jericho resort, the potential saving that we said that it was estimated is already 10%. with 15,000 US dollar per year. And of course, here you have the difference of the base case and the proposed case. In this case, we did not analyze the reduction of capacity because Redskins is not able to do this. And it was minimal because we are not touching the envelope. So it was minimal in this case. And the key takeaway from this, just to finalize, so the new building were really, the good design was already very good. Thanks a lot to the architect and to the engineers that worked on it. They already thought of a lot of things to be implemented, but you can always add additional energy efficiency measure to arrive to net zero. Currently, a new building in Europe, the standard is net zero. So you need to think, and the low passive building can really decrease the energy demand by 90%. And when you introduce this in the beginning, the additional cost is not so high. So think of this, add insulation. Insulation is good. It allows to reduce the energy consumption, but also a lot the energy the capacity of your cooling and heating system. And also for the Jericho model, when you do an audit, even if it's already, they had LED already good, it's the owner is already thinking a lot of energy efficiency, you can always find energy efficiency measures that can be implemented. And so in this case, we can have a good project with a payback period of 7.3 years, and mainly due to this domestic hot water faucets and flow system reduction. So think of it when you're doing a building, even, and it's applicable for any kind of building, not only in the tourism sector, but in the tourism it has more effect because there is a high consumption of domestic hot water. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amandine. Ruba, do you want to add anything?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this session. I can see some questions in the chat box. Is there any more questions anyone would like to?
I have a question for you.
Yes, so we can answer.
Since you were the one in the field, what challenges? Well, I wanted to have see more pictures because I will more pictures will make me sense more what the problem was. But anyway, what challenges did you have in these sites? Did you have any challenges? And my other note, well, I'm not sure that the savings mainly were in the heating item, and the cooling were very challenging to have any savings, any measurable or high savings in the cooling. So I would like to have more elaboration about this issue. So.
Okay. We have also a question about the baseline or the building as usual case or references. Any other questions?
Which done just to talk about you. So the picture, they are not built, they are new building. So there is no picture. There is a land, with nothing. You know what
all
I
of
mean?
them are in the design phase. I thought there were some existing.
Two of them.
Yeah, let me summarize. Yes. Yeah. We had a case of two different cases. We have existing building in Jericho that we audited for already existing and already built systems. And we worked also on the design stage for two other hotels, the extension of the Jericho Resort and the View Hotel. So it's a little bit two different perspectives. For the existing building, the audit including visiting the field, the challenges wherein having all the data about the already installed equipments, including all the VRF systems, all the cooling and heating systems, pumps, and everything you can imagine in the building. Challenges include having plans for the system, for the already built existing buildings, because it's an old building. Also, some buildings in general, they don't have meters for water, and they don't have meters for specific equipments for electrical. You have only 1 meter for the whole consumption in the building. So we have to do some analysis for this. For the to be built for the new buildings, challenges were a little bit different, including more negotiation with the engineers, with the the owner of the building, to pass this idea about savings and have new measures. But what we face in Jericho especially, we were facing a very good design that already includes energy efficiency measures for walls, for water, for VRF systems, heating and cooling. They already including this for lighting. They include control systems. Yeah, but in energy efficiency, you can do more always.
I remember, Ruba, that
yes,
one of the challenges was to get the data also for
yes.
this new building. And I would say I agree with Ruba on everything what she said, but I remember the analysis were a little bit delayed, because it was complicated to get the data, because when they design a building, they do not have since the beginning all the information related, especially to HVAC system. I mean, the envelope, it was kind of okay, but the HVAC system, they didn't have the model that they want to use, so they didn't have the efficiency. So we had to estimate with them, because we didn't know which kind of models they wanted to use. So how you can build a baseline when you don't know? So it was also this that we needed to discuss a lot with them. And just to say, they were very cooperative. And it was a pleasure to work with Ruba as an expert, and with the architects and the engineer. It was a very good collaboration. And it's not easy when you arrive as an energy efficiency consultant on top of it, of the architect and the engineer, to tell them you can change this and this. And they were very receptive. Of course, it's complicated sometimes to include this energy efficiency measure. They tried. We did sketches of some element. We work with them hand by hand. It is how it works. Mainly, it's working hand by hand, proposing things and working together. That's work always the most.
We have another question about the baseline or the building as usual reference. Actually, for this issue, we take the common or the most usual standards worked on here, because we need a reference to say that we saved like 20%, 10%, 5%, based on the common usual. We tried to search for standards. As for the insulation for the building, it is usually done as 3 centimeters. In Jericho, they designed it to be 5 centimeters. We proposed 10. So the reference was, in this case, the design. If there is no reference, like in the existing building, we suggested, or we have our sorry, it's muted. So we have our own, the usual case.
Okay, there are another questions in the chat box. How much cost the changes in order to save in cooling and heating systems?
We can go back to the presentation. We mentioned this exactly.
So mainly the thing, it's when we look at energy efficiency measure in the envelope and in the things that reduce the demand of heating and cooling, you need to analyze also that it reduces the capacity of the system that you need. So the change, the energy efficiency measure costs the same. I mean, if you change a window, it's the cost of the window that you change. It's the difference between the cost of the windows that you had before and the new one. Mainly this. And then when you look at it, you don't look only at the energy consumption reduction that it gives you over the years, but also you are able to install a lower capacity system. But the cost is, there is no specific cost for this. It's the cost of the energy efficiency measure. So if you add insulation to a wall, is a cost of adding the insulation. So making the wall bigger, the insulation material, the guy who installs the insulation, and then that's it. It stayed there for 50 years.
Okay, another question was, where RCP scenarios used for the modeling?
Kuba, do you know what is RCP?
I think he was meaning all the concentration pathways of the climate change. Is this what you mean? Mr. Firas, if you can explain more your question. Okay, we have a new message. You can talk if you want. Yeah, can you unmute him or?
He said yes.
Yes. Future scenarios about the weather. Actually, in Jericho, no, we concentrated
No, the
on
modeling,
current.
it's not working like this.
Yes.
We don't use the data of 2024 or 2023 weather data. You use, it's called TMIY. It's an average weather on different years to be able to compare different things. You don't use what the weather will be after in this modeling software. You could build one, it's very complicated and it's not done at the moment. As I was explaining at the beginning, it's not exactly what the building will consume. It's not exactly the building. It's an estimation to be able to compare different scenarios. But the building, how it will consume, you only know by measuring it when it's consuming, and you need the data of the measurement when it's built. Okay, there is no possibility to include this in modeling, and it's like more a research university type of, not a feasibility study for financing a project.
Muhammad asked, do you study feasibility of the use of ice storage system for cooling to benefit from the low tariff period for electricity price, low cost of electricity price at night, low cooling demand?
Actually, part of the answer is yes. We did not consider ice storage in particular, but of course we considered the low tariff different sections and periods for the building, especially in Jericho. This is the current situation they had, and we considered this. The main issue we concentrated on, as Amandine cleared, is the reducing the capacity of the cooling and heating system, so reducing the demand. The idea was studying the effect of the insulation on the cooling and heating system capacity, studying the shading. So yes, we considered the prices, the different tariff, and the cooling demand.
Okay, I think Adam asked the last question. Is there any energy service company, ESCO or ESCO, being engaged for the energy efficiency projects in the new buildings and the Jericho model? If so, what criteria were used to select the ESCO for these projects?
I think this is Sunref call.
Yeah, it's Randall. So just for you to know, so ESCO for new building is very, very highly complicated because you need to do a measurement and verification that is highly complicated. So an option D, it's called, and it's a calibrated simulation. It's go way further than what we have done. It starts with what we have done, but it's go way further, and it's highly cost, and it's not widely done worldwide. I've seen some example, but sincerely, it's not. So there is no ESCO company in the new building. And for the energy audit, it's the project is there. There's a feasibility study, and it has not been decided if they wanted to implement it. Currently, there is no. They don't have anybody. They are just try to finalize the extension, and they don't have a financial option for to implement the energy efficiency measure for the existing part. And I don't think for this amount and this size of project that we're proposing an ESCO would be appropriate. It's more for fully refurbishment of a building, because in this case, we did not propose to change the envelope, adding insulation and so on. And so we did not have any criteria for selecting the ESCO.
Muhammad said again, I think the use of ice storage may be more feasible than retrofit chiller with 14 years. Okay.
I just would like to say, when you look at the payback of one energy measure by one energy efficiency measure, it's not the best way to look at it. The best way is to bundle. And when we see after bundling, you arrive to a project with 7 years of payback, bundling different things, and they have interaction between them. And you can also get more financing, because if you want, you know that, for instance, for Sunrev, there is a limit of lower, I don't remember you see, for in this case, it was 200,000 euro to get funding of a study fund and so on. Usually the bank prefer have bigger project. So one by one, I don't think it's a good option. I like the ice storage option. I think it's a good idea. I don't think it's a bad idea, but I just think don't look at each payback by each energy efficiency measure. Look at broadly. And also one thing, this chiller, they will have to change it sooner or later, and they have different chiller. Ruba, how many chiller did they have?
They have three spare and two, three alternative.
Yeah.
chillers.
So, and when you propose to change the one that is most used and have the shortest lifetime, usually it might be changed in 5 years, and the payback would be like minimum, because in this case you can't only for the additional for energy efficiency, more energy efficiency, not the overall. In this case, it was the overall cost of the chiller.
Okay. Ahmad asked if those two hotels had to pay the cost of such a study, how much approximately would the cost be?
I would say 20 to 30,000 US.
Okay.
It depends.
I have a question here, Amandine. Sorry, Noor. So if a private sector is attending now, do you think it's still available or applicable through Sunref?
Oh yeah, no, it's not. I think I proposed it. It's
Okay.
it's
So you
still
propose.
available. We propose, if as I said, if there's someone here that have a client or is a client or want to have a feasibility study, do not hesitate to contact. I don't know. I can put my email here in the chat box.
We can share. Yeah, the other question was if we can share the presentation.
Of course,
So
we will share the
you can-
presentation. Yeah,
you can
the
add
presentation.
your contacts.
Yeah, my contact is at the end. I think at the end, the study cannot be shared because they are private for the Sunref and the client. But we can share the presentation, of course, and my email is there. And do not hesitate to contact me because we are now looking for option to do more study fund. And we know it's a complicated time in Palestine. It's not so easy for everybody, but it's a good time to do studies and then to be able to finance it over SUNREF because there is still fund available.
I would like to add, yeah, we encourage project owners do the studies in the design before they implement or have the decisions about any measure or anything they want to do.
So I wanted just to add something in Arabic for to clarify some points because some people may have heard of the SUNREF projects for the first time. So يا جماعة اللي حاضريننا هون مشروع SUNREF هو مشروع على الأقل بفلسطين هو مشروع بيعطي زي قروض خضراء للقطاع الخاص بشكل أساسي للقطاع الخاص فيه للأفراد ولكن بشكل أساسي هو للقطاع الخاص علشان يعملوا energy efficiency بشكل أساسي. الاشي انه في البنوك اللي في على الاقل بنك فلسطين وبنك القاهره عمان في كمان المفروض بنكين اسلاميات انضموا انا لسه مش متاكده انه البنوك الاسلاميه التابعه لهم هيك المفروض انه هدول البنوك هم اللي عن طريقهم تاخذوا انتم القرض الاخضر. هلا جزء من هذا المشروع هو منحة وليس قرض اللي هي موضوع الدراسات مثل اللي هم عملوه هون واللي طرحوه هون هو منحة وليس قرض وبالتالي اللي هون محتاج اللي منكم بيعرف حدا أو هو اوريدي حدا بالقطاع الخاص وشايف إنه هاي الدراسة ممكن هم يستفيدوا منها بيقدروا يقدموا لها اوريدي اماندين شيرد هير ايميل هي بعثت اوريدي ايميلها هي بالتشات بوكس ولكن احنا كمان ممكن نبعث لكم اياه هي اوريدي سمحت لنا ناخذ البرزنتيشن وكمان رح نبعث لكم رابط اللقاء كمان عشان اذا بتحبوا تبعتوا لحد هلا الفكره انه الدراسات مجانيه وهم بيطرحوا عليكم انه هاي فتره صحيح فتره ميته من ناحيه بزنس بس هاي الفرصه اللي ممكن تعملوا فيها دراسات الدراسات اللي عملوها جزء منها على مباني موجوده وجزء منها على مباني عم تتصمم وبالتالي هاي فرصه انه الديزاينر ياخذ بعين الاعتبار المعايير اللي هم بيقترحوها عشان نعمل efficiency او توفير استهلاك الطاقه من هلا من اول ما يشتغل المبنى وهذا برأيي عظيم لأنه إحنا بصراحة عندنا مشكلة بالأوتيلات تستهلك كتير طاقة ومي على الأقل وما حدش كتير بيعمل عليها تدقيق. هاي فرصة لكل حدا موجود إنه إذا بحب يتواصل إنه ويستفيد من هاي الدراسات بشكل مجاني مثل ما حكت هي هيك دراسة ممكن تكلف 20,000 يورو مثلا. هلا احنا باللوكال ستاف ممكن يتكلف اقل بس انا بقول انه اذا اي حدا بصح له اياها بشكل مجاني يستفيد منها. ويعطيكم العافية. أنا I don't have more to add. I think I have explained a little bit more.
Are there any other questions? Because I want you to turn your cameras on to take group pictures. So if you don't have any other questions, please try to turn your camera on. إذا بتقدروا
الكاميرا عشان ناخذ صورة يا جماعة.
Thank you, وجدان. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
هلا بيير. Pierre is attending from Lebanon. يعني Pierre, you're most welcome.
Thank you.
هلا بيير.
طيب في حدا بده يفتح كاميرا عشان أنا رح أعد. Wait. There you go. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Another one. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, it's done. Thank you all for attending. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you, Amandine. Thank you, Ruba. Thank you, Wajdan.
You're more welcome.
We look forward to see you in our future.
بس ممكن سؤال؟
Yes, someone have a question.
سؤال بالنسبة للقروض، يعني إذا حدا عم بيسألنا هل هاي القروض مثلا مضمونة أو في كفالة عليها من جهتكم؟
كيف يعني كفالة؟ بس اشرح شو يعني كفالة.
هلا في زمان كانت تكون مثلا مشاريع في اتفاقيات بينها وبين البنك.
فهمت عليك،
هل
انه هي يعني قصدك انه مثلا ضد الاحتلال اذا تخربوا المشروع اشي هيك قصدك؟
يعني مش بس ضد الاحتلال، مرات إذا تعثر المشروع أو تعثر الدفع أو السداد كانوا.
أنا لا بس لك Amandine if she can answer that question. Sahar was wondering if the loans through Sunref, if the loans are somehow insured. And they can be insured, for example, because some international organizations provide insurance against occupation, or the act of the IDF, Israeli IOF equals occupation forces, or sometimes against, because it's a war. Some people may not be able to pay,
So
may have problems in paying.
So Sunref is not a war thing. It's was meant before, and it's not. They do not have this feature inside of Sunref. Is only for energy, and we don't have this resilience and recovery option as for the specific financing post-war during war. It's not built the same. No.
So you mean it's not insured?
It's
She
not
was wondering
insured.
about the insurance, yeah.
No, you need to have a specific insurance after, and it's not related to Sunref. It's related to the Bank of Palestine who is doing the loan, but it's not related to Sunref money. Sunref only allows to have a grant and the interest rate related to Sunref, but it's only allowed to have a grant. Then the loan is taken from the bank. And the Sunref will work with the grant.
I will explain that to her. So يا جماعة اللي بياخذ القروض تبعت سنرف سحر، اللي قرض تبع سنرف مش مأمن. إذا بدك تشتري تأمين، بوليصة التأمين هذيك مختلفة. علشان تعرفي البروسس تبعت القرض، أنت بتقدمي على القرض وبتقولي لهم أنا بدي أقدم على قرض سنرف. هم إذا وافقوا البنك، يعني أنت كأنك بتقدمي على قرض عادي، لازم موافقة البنك بالأول، بعدين موافقة سنرف على مشروعك. تمام. هلا لما بوافقوا سنرف تلقائيا في جزء من القرض بيكون منحة. يعني المنحة ما بتنزل لك على طول، بتنزل لما انت تنزلي مشروعك ويشتغل، ببعثوا لك مدقق بتأكد انه مشروعك شغال وصح، بعدين تنزل لك المنحة. يعني مثلا انت بدك مثلا $100، اخذتي القرض $100، لنفرض انه قيمة المنحة على هذا التايب من المشاريع، هذا النوع من المشاريع، ما هو في انواع مختلفة ومنح مختلفة، لنفرض انها 20%. هاي ال 20% ممكن انت بتاخذي القرض 100,000 كامل وبتشغلي مشروعك كامل، بعدين ببعثوا لك مدقق. اذا هم لقوا انه هي انها انت اشتغلتي حسب الشروط ومشروعك شغال صح وهيك، بنزلوا لك المنحه من قيمه القرض، بتنزل عنك، بتصيري بعد ال6 شهور هدول قيمه قرضك اقل. فهمتي علي كيف بتصير؟
Yes, okay, I got it, because this was my question. يعني what is the support by the Sunref for the loan? Yeah, this is what
the support
about
is
the insurance of the war. يعني everyone want to take any grants or loan, he should have his insurance or these things. But my question was about the intervention of Sunref as a facilitator between the bank and the investor. And so I got, thank you for the answer.
So هم بس بيعطوا منح على انواع من المشاريع بنسب مختلفه. So هلا اذا if you can find على قناه اليوتيوب تبعتنا موجود عليها لقاءات سابقه عن مشروع سنرف، فيها شارح عن سنرف 2، فيها اكثر شروحات على شو انواع المشاريع وشو المنح. So we had a previous session with Sunref team. They spoke about the Sunref and the level of support that they can provide depending on the type of the project. Try to find that links on our YouTube channel because they are there.
Or do not hesitate to send me direct question. I will forward it to Marco Markov, who is the lead of this on the financial, and he will be able to answer to you. But mainly Sunref, you need to go through Bank of Palestine to get a loan, and then they exchange with us directly. It's not the clients that exchange directly with us. You need to get a loan from Bank of Palestine.
I think Ahmed want to add something.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you for this nice presentation. My question to Amandine, I don't know, it's not a question, it's probably a proposal or a query. Yes, you are allocating, I could gather that you are allocating some 300,000 euro for the technical studies for the energy efficiency in Palestine.
Not only energy efficiency, renewable energy, environment. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is great actually, but my question is, don't you think if, for example, you consider the engineering association or the engineering community in Palestine as your first target group before the building owners, and you design a training program for the engineers involved, whether in the civil or architectural or MEP, because the story starts normally from the engineers themselves. And unfortunately, in many cases, engineers continue to do what they are used to do, and they neglect the developments of new systems in the country. And since Palestine also is very much behind in terms of engineering codes or legislations about green buildings, etc., and this is a very sophisticated process, at least let's do the awareness amongst the engineers, allocate some of this fund for workshops, education, I don't know what. That's really generally the idea I wanted to propose.
So Ahmad, it's a very, very good idea. We do not choose where to allocate the money because it's defined by the European Commission and Proparco. We are just the consultants that deliver and follow the terms of reference, and we cannot change the money where it goes. But just to let you know that we are proposing to additional, like we call technical assistants, like this kind of workshop, awareness raising, as you say, or training, because our main training, what we have done this kind of training that you ask for the engineers that are inside the bank to analyze the project that they are coming, because it was our main target within the SUNREF. But we noticed, and I agree with you, that the level of capacity for the engineers and architects and so on in Palestine related to this energy efficiency is not so high. And so we also, we propose to Proparco to add training for engineer, exactly what you said, the engineer association and so on. This has not been approved yet, but why you don't write to me an email and we keep in touch. So when the money will get there, we can directly do this as soon as possible.
Sure, thank you. Thank you for the clarification. That's good to hear.
Okay, Amandine and Ruba, I would like to thank you again for this interesting session. Inshallah, we'll see you soon.
Inshallah, I'll go to Palestine soon. Yeah.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.